कमजोरी को एक कमजोर आदमी मिला, उसी को आपने करना था। फजल रहमान से जान जाती है।
Terrorism charges against ousted Premier Imran Khan have fueled political tensions in Pakistan. An FIR was registered on August 21, alleging that the former Pakistan Prime Minister was terrorizing and threatening top police officials and a female additional sessions judge. Tehreek-e-Insaf party has denounced the charges as a politically motivated move by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's government.
हमारा कोई अमेरिका के साथ अलायंस नहीं है। हिंदुस्तान अमेरिका का स्ट्रेटेजिक एलाय है।
Pakistan is facing an economic crisis of gigantic proportions which the government seems unable to handle, and Imran is asking for early elections.
और मैजिस्ट्रेट साहिबा,
Also, Khan's popularity seems to be rising while the government faces backlash for rising cost of living. There are also reports of divisions within the all-powerful army. So, where is Pakistan headed next? Times of India spoke to former diplomat G Parthasarathy.
I think it's more that he is worried of action by the Supreme Court on matters political. Terror charges will drag on and on and on, but he is more worried about that. And in fact, he wants elections soon, before that happens. Because if the Supreme Court rules him not eligible for elections, there will be hell to play politically, because as I said, he is popular. Let's not forget that. And interestingly, the popularity, especially in Punjab, is spread. And I was rather surprised, having lived in Karachi and Sindh, to see it has even reached sections of the Sindh province where the party is making a headway. Let me say this, that his relations with General Bajwa have never been good. And in fact, Bajwa had a distinct role in getting people to desert him, and he's losing his majority in parliament. And therefore, this has been a tense relationship, and Bajwa has gone out of his way to support Shehbaz Sharif, and he's used his influence with the Saudi Arabians and the Americans, more so with the Americans, on expediting the IMF assistance to Pakistan. Pakistan's biggest problem today is it's bankrupt or heading towards it. It will certainly lead to certain tensions. The fact of the matter is there is certain personal element also. He is not liked personally by the British or the Americans, or indeed the Western countries. His economic policies are erratic, and therefore even in the IMF people are chary. One of the reasons, in fact, for the takeover was the conclusion that if they don't get IMF assistance, the economy would collapse. That has been now under negotiation, and in fact, General Bajwa, oddly enough, the army chief, intervened directly with the Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, to get the aid expedited. So, yes, with the army, General Bajwa has a good relationship with the chief. I would like to caution, because some reports I get from my friends in Pakistan suggest that a large section of the younger elements in the army are all with Imran. And in fact, if there was an election, perhaps he would win it outright, as we have seen him winning 17 out of 20 seats recently in the elections. So they would like to avoid an election for the time being, and we'll see how it has to play out, because General Bajwa retires on November 29th. I think the sort of Faiz Hamid, who's one of the lieutenant generals, and his DGI, if Imran was in power, that man would have certainly become the next army chief. He's out of the running now. I mean, Shehbaz, whom I've known well, when I was High Commissioner, he was Chief Minister of Punjab. He's a very balanced man and good in the economic portions of it. The first thing he did after coming to power was a visit to Saudi Arabia. Imran had really offended the Saudis, and without Saudi aid, Pakistan was headed for fast chaos economically. He went there, he got $8 billion of assistance from Saudi Arabia. That has given a certain level of comfort. At the same time, the IMF is acting very tough, and I believe that is at American behest. It required General Bajwa to speak, as I said, to the Deputy Secretary of State to get matters expedited. So they are stuck in that, because without that assistance, and anything that the Saudis and the others may give, unless there is a serious policy to go with it, which can only come with the IMF, these fellows will be bankrupt in another 6 months thereafter. So the medicine being proposed by Saudi Arabia, by the IMF for this assistance, involves huge cutting of expenses, things like they were envisaging higher salary for generals and civil servants and so on. All that will have to stop. So plus many of the freebies which people were getting will have to stop, because I think the IMF's views it will take at least 3 to 4 years for this economy to come anywhere near normal. And therefore, as I said, their main problem is going to be economic. It's not as serious as Sri Lanka, but it is certainly very serious. No, as I said, what happens is that's what Imran would have liked. That's what he would have arranged if he could have got Faiz Hamid as the next DGIS army chief. Because, but as I said, Faiz presently, in my view, is out of the reckoning. There are others who are senior to him and whom Bajwa would perhaps entrust it with. So he is going to, one way or another, he is not going to be good news economically. But as I said, his popularity, helped by the unpopularity of the Shehbaz Sharif government, you could predict he will certainly, if not with a majority, emerge easily as the largest party. And that is I don't expect it before October next year. Where is Pakistan headed next is something which is, I think I'll have to be an astrologer to foretell. But one thing is very clear. They are, their economic thing is hurting them. In fact, Imran Khan says positive things about Jaishankar because Jaishankar, tells the Americans, by you don't like it, you will have to take it. That's what we're going to give. That unke paas himmat nahi to do the same thing. So I think what is going to happen is this confusion. That once Bajwa goes, perhaps his successor can pull back from the level of confrontation which exists and go ahead with the elections in October as scheduled, unless Shehbaz loses his support, which one can never say, because as I said, the last Punjab election, 17 out of 20 seats were won by Imran, and the Shehbaz's son, Hamza Shehbaz, who was the chief minister, had to quit because his party lost their majority. So they are into a complicated situation, and in these circumstances, we should let them go the way they want. I don't think they have. Yes, cross-border terrorism will continue, but at manageable levels, And I don't mind even saying this on record. If we choose, we have remedies to make lives not too easy for them. So they'll have to do it in a carefully calibrated manner. But they will not digest their food unless they hear there is one or two jihadis here and there in Kashmir. So that will continue happening.